Welcome back to Fastened Like Nails, hosted by Lamplighter Ministries, the show that provides biblical insight and hope in marriage, parenting, character development, and career excellence. In this episode, Mark Hamby is on air with KLFC Radio and unpacks the genesis story behind Lamplighter Theatre. Did you know that Lamplighter Theatre is truly a miracle? From the first recording to the 23rd, each audio drama produced is built on faith and sacrifice. Mark's testimony will leave you in awe of God's provision and ignite an enthusiasm to learn more about God through Lamplighter stories. Let's listen in to part 1 of this interview.
Mark Hamby, want to welcome you to Good Morning Ozarks. Good morning, Mark. I'm Keith, and this is David Patrick. I don't think you've talked to him.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Lamplighter Theatre can be heard, by the way, in case you have to leave us early at 9:30 on Saturday morning here on KLFC. Mark, I want to talk for just a moment and kind of acquaint David, who may or may not be familiar, and the rest of us. You've been here before, so many of us know, but give me the 60-second version of how Lamplighter Theatre got started and what your
Sure.
mission statement is and to do.
Well, our mission statement is to make ready a people prepared for the Lord by building Christ-like character, one story at a time. So we're living in an image-saturated culture right now, and the science even is showing that children that are being inundated by images, that what they see is what they believe. It's literally restricting their ability to have faith, because if you can't see it, a transcendent God can no longer be within the realm of a reachable God. And so Hollywood is literally taking over the minds of our children. They have lost their ability to imagine. We're created in God's image, and when we spend time with God, I love what it says about in Psalm 16:11. It says, "I'll make known unto you the path of life. In my presence is fullness of joy. In my right hand are pleasures forevermore." That's proximity. We've got to get our kids and families into the presence of God. We've got to get them experiencing faith again so that they can experience this God of wonders. And so we're trying to make a dent in what the image-saturated culture is doing to our children. They're literally taking their souls captive. Listen to this. In the Epistle of Peter, he says, Lot's righteous soul was vexed from day to day by the things he saw and the things he heard. And we know the story of Lot. You know, he ends up getting his daughters pregnant later on. He was spending too much time in Sodom and Gomorrah. And in the image-saturated culture that we live in, the sexual perversion is inundating our kids. They no longer know how to think about their own image. That's why we have all of the gender identity crisis. That's why we don't have any real understanding of what femininity is and masculinity is. And so when children are spending time with heroic characters that are godlike, when they're seeing the faith lived out, where there is truly a God in whom nothing is impossible, when they experience that, then they're more apt to live out, especially when they face difficulties and trials, because that's the deal. You face difficulties and trials in this culture, and if you don't have a God that you can really trust, fully convinced that he'll keep his promises, then you're going to go and try to find something else to fill that void. And that's what Hollywood has done for us. It's filling the void with all of the superheroes. And then the superheroes don't work, and what do? We go to the left, and we go to, The Walking Dead and the zombies and all of that, all of the occultic stuff. And so what Lamplighter Theatre has done is that we have found 200 stories that were written in the 16 to 1800s that are filled with God's Word, that are on the edge of your seat. And I'm telling you guys, if these stories don't hold my attention and drive me to my knees in repentance and cause a heroic sense in my heart, I won't even print the book. And then from there, we adapt them into audio dramas, and we will find the best actors in the world. We have actors from Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, Chronicles of Narnia, Downton Abbey, Star Wars. These are the actors we find for these dramas, so that when a child hears them, if they're given a choice between watching a movie of Hollywood and listening to a Lamplighter drama, we want their choice to be a no-brainer. They're going to listen to this, because when they do, the theater of the mind opens up, and they begin to imagine for themselves. They're not following the imagination of Hollywood any longer.
Wow. How long ago did Lamplighter Theatre start, Mark, and how did it become a reality for you?
So for 25 years, I've been thinking about this idea, but I couldn't find anyone that was good enough because I told the Lord, if we cannot produce something that's better than a Hollywood movie, I'm not producing it.
Sure.
Because, Christianity, I don't know what it is, but it's so shallow sometimes, the things that we try to produce, and it doesn't hold a child's attention or an adult's attention, and so I travel literally all over the world. I talked with people. I remember going down to Chuck Swindoll's group when they were producing Paw Paw Chucks, and they were producing like one every 2 to 3 years, and I'm like, this will take me a lifetime. If I'm going to produce one or two every 2 to 3 years, it'll take me literally 20 years, because you got to produce at least 20 to get them on the radio, so that you have a little bit of a quantity to go forward with. And every time I talk with somebody, I'd have them produce something, and it just wasn't good enough. And then one day, December 12th, 8 years ago, my wife and I are invited to speak at a strategic planning meeting at Focus on the Family. We're in there, and as we're in there, Dr. Dobson announces his resignation. And it was like a morgue. People were crying. And I remember a couple of the guys had just recently gotten laid off from Odyssey. And this one guy looks at me and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "I know you." He goes, "You're the guy that," he goes, "I heard you speak at the Denver homeschool conference." He goes, "You're the guy that produces all those rare stories, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you ever consider putting them in radio drama?" And my wife and I looked at each other laughing, and I said, "Yeah, eat, drink, sleep, and breathe the idea for the last 25 years. Really? I said, "But you guys have like all the best talent in the world, and we can't find anyone as good as this." And he goes, "I know some guys that are looking for some work, and I think they'd like to meet with you." I met with John Fornoff and Marshall Younger 4 o'clock that afternoon in Panera Bread, just below Focus on the Family. John walks in like Marlon Brando, and he looks at me and he goes, "I just read your website." He goes, "This is exactly what we're trying to do." He goes, "This is like Odyssey on steroids." He goes, "I'm in." He goes, "I'm in." He said, "Let's produce right away." I said, "Great." I said, "There's one problem.
Money.
I don't even have 2 pennies to rub together." He goes, "Well, that's a problem." I said, "How much are these things going to cost?" He goes, "First production is going to cost around $200,000. I almost fell on the floor.
Wow.
That's more than my house cost.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I'll never come up with that kind of money." And if I did, we're not talking about 20 years. We're talking about 100 years to produce something like this. For me to get 20. And he said, "I'll tell you what. I'll produce, write, and direct the first one for free. You pay for the actors, you pay for the studio, and you pay for post-production and music." And I said, "I cannot believe you just said that, because this is what I told the Lord. Lord, I need to find someone that will help me produce this, that is in with me with 2 Samuel 24:24. This is what it says. David says, "I'll not give unto the Lord that which costs me nothing." You see, I had actually found somebody that could help me, but he wanted like 401k, he wanted retirement, he wanted health insurance, he wanted royalties for his family for the rest of his into eternity. At the last second, even though this guy was the best in the business, the last second I turned it down, because I felt like I don't want Lamplighter Theater to be built on the royalties of another person. I want it to be built on sacrifice. And when John Fornoff said that to me, I was like, whoa. I said, "We're in this together, and we're going to move." So we did the first one, and I couldn't even attend the production because I didn't have enough money for the flight. I didn't have enough money for the hotel room, and I couldn't fly to Hollywood to do it. So we did the first one, so now we got this CD. It's like, okay, what are we going to do with it? I can't tell the radio stations, "Hey, would you guys play this like every day for the next 20 years?"
Sure.
So I couldn't do that. So John calls me up and he goes, "Mark," he goes, "what's God telling you to do next?" And here I am teaching everyone about faith. Okay, I'm encouraging students. You got to walk by faith. You got to trust God. And this was like God was like slamming me right in the face. Like, "Are you going to trust me? Do you really trust me, the God of the universe that can part the Red Sea, that can raise the dead, that can do anything that I want to do?" I'm the God in 2 Chronicles 29:36 that says this: "The God provided all the resources for his people, and the work of God was done suddenly." And I thought, okay, John, are you ready for this? We're going to do 2 more productions, and we're going to go to London, so we got original accents, and we're going to do this in 4 months.
Wow.
And he goes, "I'm in." I prayed. I sent letters. I made phone calls. I contacted 500 donors. I raised a total of $500 of the $450,000 that I needed. There's no way we're going to do this. I tell you what, I had complete peace about it, and I said, okay, Lord, if you close the door, that's fine. Maybe this is just a dream. Maybe I've got this whim. This is not reality, you know? God does some things like that for some people, but he did it for George Mueller, but he may want to do it for Mark Hamby. But I told the Lord this. I said, Lord, I can't think of any selfish reason that you would not do this. In fact, I could only think that this is going to advance your kingdom, redeem people, save people's lives, and save a soul from death that will hide a multitude of sins. Lord, based on those reasons alone, I can't think of any reason why you would not want to answer this prayer. The day for the flights to London came. John and I had to fly to Philadelphia. John had to fly to Chicago. Then we're flying to London together. Together after that, we're going to meet there. And then I told John, I said, listen, I don't have the money. I said, so, all we did was have to write the scripts. We've got that. I paid for that. So now I got to come up with the rest of the cash to pay for the actors, which is going to be about $50,000. So I've got $500 in my pocket. That's it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm in Philadelphia. John's in Chicago, and I'm talking to him, and I said, I don't have the money yet. And I'm asking my secretary, check the mailbox, check everything, check everything, and let me know when someone calls with the money. And she says, Mark, she goes, you're going to have to come back home. And I told John, listen, you fly back to Denver. I'll fly back to Rochester. And if we don't get the money, then it's over with. Maybe God will do this another time. And so I called the office 5 o'clock. I called at 5:30. I called at 6. And my secretary, Cheryl, she's leaving at 6. And I said, Cheryl, can you stay like 15 more minutes? She goes, Mark, I've got a dinner engagement with my husband. She goes, God didn't bring the money. You need to fly back home. It's over. I said, can you just stay 15 minutes longer? She goes, I'll tell you what. She goes, I'm going to stay 15 minutes longer, but I'm not calling you up. I'm just going to leave. And she goes, and you just got to face the music. You got to come back home. I said, okay, deal. 6:15 comes, 6:20 comes, 6:30 comes, and I'm like, So I called John. I say, hey, it looks like we're going to have to go back home. And all of a sudden, at 6:40, I get a phone call from my secretary. And she's on the other side, and she's screaming and crying and laughing, and I can't even understand what she's saying. Cheryl, settle down. What's going on? And she goes, Dennis Rainey of Family Life Today, for some unknown reason, just re-aired an old interview that he had done with you years ago. And, Mark, it went viral. It went all over the world, and already over $150,000 worth of books have been ordered on the Lamplighter website. One lady, whom you guys would know if I told you her name, she's on the radio. She ordered 1,000 of one book.
Wow.
Man. And I called John. I said, hey, I'll see you in London.
That's the way the Lord does things. Now, that's
how it started.
That was 8 years ago, huh, Mark?
Yeah, 8 years ago.
Well,
and now we're in our 23rd drama now.
Wow. Tell me about the one we're going to hear. We got a 7-minute segment of the new one. So tell me about that right quick, and then I want to play the 7 minutes, and we'll come back and wrap up.
Okay, so I have a phrase I use here at Lamplighter. It's the only extra phrase that I can use that may not be considered, profane. It's holy smoke. That's what I say to people. This drama is on steroids. It's called The Giant Killer. It's about a family who has their cousin coming living with them, and he turns their family upside down. He's like a terrorist in their home, and they want him out. And the two cousins, the two children that are in the home, they're in a pastor's home. They've had everything wonderful. The mother sits all three of them down, and she starts telling them about the giant of laziness and the giant of hate and the giant of selfishness and the giant of pride and the tempter of pleasure. You see, these children, as good as they were, all of a sudden realizing that those giants that the mom's talking about live in their lives because they have all of a sudden been put in a position that's uncomfortable for them, and the real test of their real character is coming out. And all of a sudden, the giants that she starts teaching them about come alive, and they've got to start fighting the giants and their life. And when they learn about the temptress pleasure, see, pleasure can be good or can be evil. When you follow pleasure, she restricts and imprisons. But when pleasure follows you, there's freedom.
Wow.
This is a story. Wait till you hear the sound of these giants. I mean, you will get the goosebumps all over. It's like, this is the real deal. It sounds like you're going back in time in Narnia.
Well, don't look at your radio because there's no screen to look at. Open your mind, and let's listen to Lamplighter Theatre. This is The Giant Killer. Right, Mark? Here we go.
Well, hello there. It's good to have you back. You're always welcome here at Lamplighter Theatre. On our last visit,
once upon a time, far and away, lived a strong and brave knight. His name was Fidus. Wisdom.
Should difficulty or doubt arise, breathe upon the hilt of your sword, and I will be at your side.
The giant.
I love when you read to us, Papa. It's my favourite part of the day. What is this book called again?
The Giant Killer.
Papa, I'm worried about that boy coming tomorrow.
Welcome to our home, Constantine. I'm Alec.
Charmed.
We call our cottage the Dove's Nest.
Looks like a place for the birds.
Constantine! Stop! There's a cliff behind those trees! Come back this way! Oh no!
He went over the edge!
Fooled you both.
Oh,
You too.
Constantine.
Wretched bovine.
All right, then. Constantine is finishing up his studies with your father, so I thought this would be a good opportunity for you both to tell me what it's like to host our new guest.
Mama, he's not a guest. He's a tornado. That boy is the awfulest, impolitest, terriblest person I have ever met in my whole entire life.
Well, now.
He pulled Penelope's tail, and at dinner, he kicked Alec under the table on purpose. And he never reads his Bible or says his prayers. He's just wicked through and through.
Bertha, without Christ, we're all wicked.
But we were all doing perfectly fine before he got here. I just wish we could get back to normal again, like we used to be.
I see. Alec?
Well, I have to admit something.
Yes?
There are challenges at times, but God is really helping me. Didn't you say His grace gives us the opportunity to grow?
I did.
Well, let's just say God's allowing me to grow. A lot.
Ma, you should have heard Constantine at our studies today. He thought Sir Francis Drake was a famous duck.
Children, I need to inform you both about something.
What is it?
You're getting a new teacher.
But, Mama, you and Papa have always been the ones to teach us.
Who is this new teacher?
His name is Constantine.
What?
Mama! How? I don't understand.
Many times God puts people in our lives to teach us important lessons. And I believe Constantine will turn out to be a most excellent teacher.
Constantine is nothing but selfish.
Perhaps Constantine is not the only one who faces such a giant.
Mama, are you saying I am selfish?
Often the faults we see in others are the same faults we fail to see in ourselves.
I wasn't selfish before he came.
Maybe Constantine is not causing your selfishness. Perhaps he is revealing it.
Mama.
I've had enough studies today to become a lawyer.
Well, we're through with studies for now. It's story time!
Yes!
Constantine, would you care to join us?
Please. I've had plenty of books today already. Besides, I really don't like reading.
Well, I believe this book may suit your taste. It's about a knight who faces giants. It's a true story.
But giants don't exist.
Don't be too sure. There once was a beautiful garden adorned with flowers of every color and every scent from every part of the world. In the center of the garden, beside a quiet pool of water, sat a giant, taller and more powerful than his brother Sloth. This was the giant Selfishness. Very few could stand against his power. Indeed, he was tyrant over half the world. Thousands and thousands labored under his chains, and yet he sat alone in the deep shade of gloom, staring at his reflection in the water.
Such evil tidings, evil tidings. Pleasure, come.
At once appeared a fairy-like creature with gossamer wings sparkling with all the colors of the rainbow.
Yes, Master. What troubles you?
A knight named Fidus has slain my brother Sloth.
No.
Fidus bears a sword of immense power. His weapon is alive. Sharper than any two-edged blade, it can cut to the very soul. Not even my strength can stand against it.
What then could I do against such a weapon?
I have a plan.
You're listening to Lamplighter Theatre. Come visit us at lamplighter.net.
Thank you for tuning in to Fastened Like Nails. If you would like to order The Giant Killer or receive a free catalog listing our family collection of rare books and audio dramas, visit lamplighter.net. Don't forget to ask your local station about partnering with our ministry. Our mission as a nonprofit is to make ready a people prepared for the Lord by building Christ-like character one story at a time. Your prayers are essential and your gifts are tax deductible. Visit lamplighter.net/podcast to listen to other episodes. Until next time, God bless.